Hey everyone, it's Anna, your wellness dietitian, and I'm going to demonstrate to you one of my favorite holiday or any time of the year side dishes or appetizers. They're maple bacon roasted Brussels sprouts. So a lot of people hear bacon and they think, oh, that's unhealthy, and yes, it is if we eat it every day, but it can really add a lot of flavor and a lot of pop into a dish and make Brussels sprouts a little more palatable for people who might not normally eat them. And everything in moderation. So our breakfast meats, we want to limit those to maybe once a week at most as a treat, and it's okay as an additive in this ingredient. A little bit goes a long way. So we're going to get this going, and like I said, Brussels sprouts might be one of those vegetables that you hear and you say, ooh, I don't like that, or some people had bad experiences when they were kids, but I hope to reverse that for you because they are one of the most nutritious, cruciferous vegetables that there is, high in fiber, tons of vitamins and minerals. So I'm just going to take this little outside layer off, and I've washed these Brussels sprouts, and I'm just going to show you how I like to cut them, and I'm just going to literally cut them right in half. So we want to leave the little stem on, and I kind of by accidentally cut a little early on this one, so we'll put that one aside. But we're going to just take off any kind of loose hanging leaves here, and then we're just going to cut right down the middle and throw it in the bowl. So depending on the size of your Brussels sprout, you can cut it in half, you can cut it in quarters, but kind of you want to create bite-sized pieces, and as long as you cut kind of right in the middle of that stem, your little sprout should stay intact. So these are really great for your digestion. They keep you healthy, keep your immune system strong. So I'm going to cut that again in a quarter, and just keep your surfaces flat so that when you cut them, it's a little safer. And I'm just going to cut like that again, and we're just going to peel it. So however big you want them, really. As you can see, I've cut a bunch here and put them in the bowl. Now these are something you could roast some extras of, so you can have an extra side of roasted vegetables and have them throughout the week, or you could make them just for this recipe. So you can really choose, but the basis of roasting any vegetables is a little bit of olive oil we're going to sprinkle on there, and I'm just going to do a little pepper, and we're just going to grab a little bit of salt as well. So I'm just doing a tiny bit because the ones underneath were actually already pre-seasoned a tiny bit, and we're just going to toss these together. And these are just such a great addition to any holiday meal, and you could again do this as a little side dish, as an appetizer. I just love how these add so much nutrition to the table without a lot of effort. So we're going to put it on this pan with foil. I always line my pans with foil before I roast, just to make cleanup a little bit easier. And we'll spread them out. We want one single layer so that they cook evenly and no one misses out on heat here. So everything's in bite-sized pieces, one single layer. We're going to put it in the oven at around 400 degrees for about 25 minutes and let them bake. So let's put these in, and let's set our timer for 25 minutes. And about halfway through, you can give them a little stir if you want, but they should be fine even on their own. All right, I heard the timer go off, and I think our Brussels sprouts are ready, so let's check on them. We want them to be soft and a little bit brown, and they're looking and smelling perfect. Roasted vegetables are just an amazing thing this time of year. Everything's in season, our fall vegetables, our winter vegetables, so I always batch cook a bunch of roasted vegetables in the beginning of the week as a healthy side dish. So let's get back to our maple bacon roasted Brussels sprouts, and we are going to use the rest of the ingredients in the skillet. So let's turn this on and put it at about medium heat or so, and let's put a little dash of olive oil, but not a lot, because our Brussels sprouts already have some oil on them, and we're adding the bacon, which has a little bit of fat on it as well, so we don't need to kill it in the oil category. But the remainder of this recipe really is just going to be infusing those Brussels sprouts with some sweet, with some salty, with some garlic, making them really delicious and palatable. And a nice addition to the table. Now, a lot of our traditional holiday side dishes are full of starch, be it biscuits or bread rolls or mashed potatoes or stuffing. So it's nice to have 2 or maybe even 3 bright, colorful side dishes of vegetables that you can fill most of your plate up with. So when you look at that plate, you want to see mostly fruits and vegetables, maybe a small portion of your bread or your grain, what have you, and then you want to have a little piece of protein as well. So kind of following that plate method is the way to go. You can have a little more on Thanksgiving though, we just don't want to overdo it. All right, so our pan is getting warm. We're going to put these Brussels sprouts right in here, and I'm just quickly transferring them, and really we're just going to kind of crisp them up in our pan. So however many you can fit in there, just grab them, and we're just going to get them nice and crispy in our pan. And like I said, always say cook once, eat 3 or 4 times. So batch cook some extra of these puppies or make an extra batch so you can have them around. If you're feeling ambitious, you can even throw in an extra, some butternut squash. You can throw in some eggplant, some other starchier seasonal vegetables, just to have an extra side dish for your food prep for the week. So I'm really just going to warm those up, and I'm going to start to add the fun stuff. So this is going to kind of caramelize it. We're going to use some pure maple syrup, as you know, one of my favorite sweeteners. And I'm going to do about a tablespoon drizzled on here, and this is really going to caramelize it really nicely in our pan and kind of add that sweet, salty feel. And that's going to just, wow, it's smelling really amazing. And a lot of times we don't think to kind of combine our flavors and our textures, but that's what really keeps us feeling satisfied, is making sure we get a nice variety. So you're going to want to have some pre-cooked bacon, however you cook it, be it the oven, the stovetop. And I just like to make it a little extra crispy for this recipe. And I'm just going to sprinkle it in here. So this is about, I'm making half the recipe right now. So this is about 2 slices of bacon. And I've just crisped it up so we can just put it in here. And you'll notice that that's going to add a lot of our salt and our flavor and really mesh nicely with our maple syrup. So we're kind of balancing out our flavors here. It's starting to smell really good as we reheat that bacon, and it crisps up and it absorbs that maple syrup. And again, we're not really doing anything that is, whoops, I lost a lone Brussels sprout here. We'll rescue him, put him back in. We're not really doing at all anything that has been in a package. It's no frozen food, no processed food. So by nature of doing that, we're reducing a lot of our sodium content, our salt, our fat, and we're just getting so much fiber with these Brussels sprouts as well. And not to mention all of the antioxidants that are in them and other things that are healthy for our body. So I'm just going to do a sprinkle of garlic powder just to kind of tie these things together and give it that sort of little bit of pop. And I can already smell that. Don't overdo it with the garlic, guys, just a little bit to add that sort of 3-dimensional flavor profile to your Brussels sprouts. Let's move this so you can see it kind of starting to blend together. And this has almost like a smoky feel, but it still is comforting and warming for the holidays. So it's got a lot of complexity going on while still being really simple with just the nature of the simple ingredients we use. So really you just need about 3 or 4 minutes on the stovetop. And we are going to then transfer it over here to this nice thing, this nice platter. And this is just such a delicious, healthy little side dish, much better than mac and cheese or things that are loaded with cream sauces or laden with tons of meat. This just has a splash of meat with the bacon. The bacon is just kind of a flavor enhancer. It's not the base of our meal here, but it just makes it a little more exciting and might make it so your average person who normally wouldn't eat Brussels sprouts might grab them and try them and experience their goodness. So They're all meshed together. You can serve this with a little bit of herbs to garnish it, or fresh parsley, things that you have around to make it look nice, or put it in a bowl and kind of pile it up. But this is your nice holiday Thanksgiving maple roasted bacon Brussels sprouts. So I hope you enjoy. Let me know if you try them.